A pandemic has surfaced. Since the discovery of COVID-19 in late December of 2019, there have been thousands of confirmed cases and deaths. These numbers are expected to grow substantially as the coronavirus continues to spread and infect many. The virus has not only caused fatalities, but it has also destabilized economies and has created a mass hysteria and an anxiety as infectious as the virus itself. But how concerned should we be? Where did COVID-19 originate? What is a coronavirus and how do these viruses spread? What consequences do we face if this virus is not contained? And ultimately, are we going to be okay? Follow me, and let's come down this rabbit hole. Before diving deep, it is important to understand the biology of viruses and how they function. Unlike bacteria and other cellular forms of life, viruses are not living cells. They are classified as small, independent particles that survive by replicating inside the cells of organisms. There are viruses for all types of life forms, including animals, plants, and microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. Every life form and every virus share a similar characteristic. They all contain genetic information. All viruses are made up of either DNA or RNA, and they function biologically by releasing their genetic information inside a host cell to then force the cell to produce thousands of identical copies. This is why there are so few antiviral drugs. It is difficult to design a medicine or vaccine that can specifically target the viruses without harming the host cells. With coronaviruses, there is no exception. There still isn't a vaccine or drug that can prevent or treat human coronavirus infections like the common cold, or MERS, or SARS, or the recently emerged COVID-19. COVID-19 and other coronaviruses target the respiratory system of only mammals and birds. This contagious disease is spread through respiratory droplets that are released during coughing and sneezing, or through indirect contact with contaminated surfaces. A recent UCLA study found that the coronavirus can survive up to 2 to 3 days on plastics and steel, but less on other surfaces. When exposed to COVID-19, symptoms generally develop between 2 and 14 days. Common symptoms are a cough, fever, and shortness of breath, and are generally mild and last a few days to weeks. However, a minority of cases progress to stronger symptoms like pneumonia and multi-organ failure. Some cases have also shown to be asymptomatic, and in children, symptoms seem to be milder. COVID-19 can be diagnosed through several methods, such as by collecting respiratory samples from a patient and running a lab test, or through a blood test or a chest CT scan. However, these methods are expensive, time-consuming, and supplies are limited, which poses many challenges when diagnosing large populations. COVID-19 originated in Wuhan, China, a city with a population of over 11 million people. At the start of the pandemic, the Chinese government suspected that the virus came from a wet market. The problem is, some of the people first infected had no connection to that seafood market. Scientists now suspect that the virus originated in a bat and was eventually passed to the Chinese pangolin, an animal that is hunted in parts of China and sold for its meat, claws, and scales. Many conspiracies have surfaced on the origin of the virus. One rumor claims that the virus is man-made and was engineered in a lab as a bioweapon. Others claim that the virus was isolated from an animal and was being studied but leaked due to poor safety protocols. Another wild claim is from China itself. stating that the US Army started the pandemic when they were visiting Wuhan in October of 2019. However, all of these conspiracies have been debunked by scientists or public officials, and it is safe to say that this new virus emerged naturally and was passed around from mammal to mammal. Since December of 2019, the COVID-19 virus has spread from Wuhan, China to every corner of the world. Efforts to contain the virus are ongoing, but are unlikely to be successful in most countries, especially in those that are underdeveloped. Ultimately, the consequences of the pandemic can be catastrophic. Experts claim that before this is over, the virus is estimated to take thousands of more lives, perhaps millions. In addition, the spread of the coronavirus is likely to cause a brief or major global recession. As more people become infected and public paranoia increases, fewer people will be attending work, schools will close, public events will be canceled, borders and airports will shut down, and businesses will suffer economic loss. In the United States, the stock market suffered the worst crash since 1987 due to the uncertainty this virus brought. Overall, although the consequences may be devastating, it is important to understand that this is not the end of the world. Experts and scientists believe that COVID-19 will eventually settle. Since viruses can't tolerate high heat and humidity, COVID-19 is expected to reach containment upon the arrival of summer. But also, like the flu and other coronaviruses, it doesn't mean it will go away entirely. It is most likely that COVID-19 will join the other seasonal diseases and infect people yearly in the cool and dry conditions of the winter and spring. It should be noted that this virus has a fatality rate of approximately 1% to 2%. And even then, that statistic could be overestimated considering that not all mild cases are being counted. Not to mention, the fatality rate is lower than that of other coronaviruses like SARS or MERS. Most importantly, many of those who pass away from COVID-19 have pre-existing conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, or have lower immune systems for various reasons. On top of that, the majority of fatalities are in people over the age of 80, and lowest in kids 10 and under. These statistics may provide relief to some people, but it is still important to proceed with caution and to take this global emergency seriously. Above all, because a vaccine against COVID-19 is not expected to be available until 2021 at the earliest, it is key that you play a part in reducing the outbreak. Since the 2019 coronavirus is new, there may be still more we don't know about it. But one thing history has taught us is that as humans, we are capable of overcoming great obstacles, largely due to our pursuit of knowledge. Humanity has endured many outbreaks. The Plague of Athens from 429 to 426 BCE, the Black Death in the 14th century, and the Spanish flu that occurred nearly 100 years ago. We have overcome all outbreaks in the past, and COVID-19 will be no different.